It's a bit in the low side? Okay, I will turn it up then. I just want to be sure before I blast out everyone else's eardrums.
Who's this guy? Hey! What are you doing? I will defeat both of you!
Defeat both of you. Alright, off to a strong start. I'm a little iffy on some of these beginning sketches, but they're a Scott thing.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott.
Hold on. Did he have this custom made? It initially appears to be a Zweihander, but it's not, because the handle here is like at minimum of half as long as it should be. The idea is that you, on Zweihanders, you have massive handles in order to help give you the leverage to move that big blade. Also, this chip here, I have questions about this. Yeah, also the guard is really short for what it is. Now, if the sword had proper horns here, let's do a quick Google, or a Brave. We can do a Brave. The horns are these spikes sticking out the sides. It could, if it had horns here, I would consider that, you know, because this is actually, the Dark Souls Zweihander is actually properly sized to the character, and you could see it has an enormous handle. I have never seen, yep, see? That's a practice one. Or a LARP one, which, yeah, practice one. Appropriately sized. So they do get, so you can get swords that big, but what is this? Is this even sharpened? I'm not sure this is even sharpened. But yeah, that, I have questions about that already in terms of the make and quality of whatever this is. Forget this whole thing being wrong altogether. All right, let's actually watch the video. I had to stop because this sword is not right.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott, and you're watching Kentucky Ballistics. And not too long ago, I bought this little guy, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, and it got me thinking,
that looks rounded.
Would medieval weapons...
I'm sorry, what did he buy? I'm still looking at the sword. But that looks rounded. That looks like it has round edges.
Not too long ago, I bought this little guy, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, and it got me thinking, how useful would medieval weapons be in the modern era? So today I have a plethora of medieval weapons. I have a ballistic dummy lab zombie torso, and I have modern armor. We are going to put these to the test against medieval weaponry and see how effective they would be, or are they outdated? Let's get set up and get...
That is definitely blunt. Something that size, do you think it matters too much if it's blunt? Admittedly, probably not. But you run into another issue of it being a very short-term usable weapon if it's made like a sword but cannot be used like a sword.
Started. Okay, first things first, we're going to see how lethal these things are against an unarmored subject. So I have a Ballistic Dummy Labs zombie bust right here. And our first weapon...
That looks a little thin. That's probably a good size. The handle is a good size. That looks a little thin. And just given from what we've seen so far, I do think Scott probably got a bunch of cheap stuff to use. But yeah, that bar looks a bit on the thin side.
I really don't know the name of any of the weapons we have today, so I'm just going to give them my own. This is the Spiky Meatball on a Stick. And I'm just going to
that's a word for it.
Good whack and see what happens.
Yeah, it's a Morning Star. Not a, well, people are going to call it that now. Yeah, the bar is too short. Or not short, thin.
I bent my stick. That's not very high quality, is it?
No, it's not.
I will say.
Oh my gosh.
That definitely looks pretty lethal. It was.
That is not supposed to happen. That could happen if you hit a steel target, probably going even harder than what he did. But that should not have happened. That ballistic dummy head does not offer enough resistance.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but that's still pretty bad. So I was not very impressed with the Spiky Meatball on a Stick. So up next,
Morning Star.
I got this thing.
Hold on, what was that? Something moved on the...
Spiky Meatball on a Stick. So up next, I got this thing.
One of the rings already came off. Scott, I'm begging you. Don't buy the $30 crap on Amazon. Oh no. I already know where this is going. Oh yeah, I wasn't even looking at the flanges. I was just looking at how quickly a ring fell off from holding it. Oh, this mace isn't going to last long, is it?
It looks pretty mean.
It looks mean. Those are very, very thin. And like I said, one of the retaining rings has already fallen off.
It is very spiky, and this is solid. Like, this is
that is about the thickness, though, that the Morning Star bar should have been, for reference. That is about the thickness that we should have seen on the Morning Star. It has a very small head, but trust me, when you're using steel or iron, that is heavy enough to do an enormous amount of damage.
Solid piece of metal. I'm going to call this the Spiky Scepter. I got higher hopes for this one. Oh!
Those flanges moved.
Yeah, that was pretty gnarly. I'm definitely gonna say that's lethal. That's real bad. Oh dear.
Yeah, even a cheap mace is going to do a lot of damage to an unarmored human. The issue is going to be when he hits something more solid, because I saw those flanges flex, which they should not do. Also, not the greatest aim. I mean, he still hit, don't get me wrong, but he's hitting a lot with the bar.
So I think we've established that medieval weapons are indeed lethal. But now what we're going to find out is how effective would medieval weaponry be against modern armor. So this is a ballistic helmet. This is rated for most pistol rounds. I think all...
The mace is designed to do two primary things against an armored opponent. One is to dent armor to make it harder to move when you hit them in the shoulder or in the chest or in the knee. Maybe you get a lucky hip shot, which is surprisingly hard to do with something as short as a mace. But against the helmet, the mace has a very different role. Its job is not actually to do much of anything to the helmet, because frequently helmets were the very toughest part of the armor. The job when hitting someone in the head with the mace is to break their neck. So that helmet isn't going to do anything.
All the way up to 44 Magnum. So we're going to put this on a
Not where it counts.
Fresh zombie bust, and we're going to take another whack at it with the spiky scepter. Okie dokie. Here we go. Yeah!
That mace bent, and yeah, that is... If the neck isn't broken, it is at the very...
Oh, it bent it. It bent my spiky scepter. Darn it. And he looks good. He looks solid. Our helmet...
Take a closer look at the neck.
We didn't even penetrate it. It doesn't look like we have much damage at all. So, the modern helmet, modern armor.
Try it against a properly made mace. But I'm telling you right now, if we take a closer look at the neck, he's probably not going to be as fine as he thinks he is.
At least against this particular medieval weapon, did a pretty good job. You know, this guy is pretty ugly, but you know what else is ugly?
Man, that was a crappy mace.
It seems like most people have experienced debt or are currently in debt, and it's really easy to accumulate a lot of it. And once you do, it can be very difficult to dig yourself out.
At minimum, he has a concussion. The neck is probably significantly... There's probably cracks in the bones, even if it's not broken. I mean, you saw the way the skull moved. Even that crappy mace did its job.
I too have experienced debt, but at the time there were not many options out there. But thankfully now there's companies like today's sponsor, PDS Debt. Hadouken! PDS Debt has customized solutions for anyone struggling with debt, whether it be personal loans, collections, credit cards, or medical bills. Oh, that is quite a mess, and I don't really feel like cleaning that up. But PDS Debt can help you clean up your mess. They will roll all of your monthly payments into one low monthly payment. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies, and there's no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit is accepted.
Eligible
PDS Debt will help you to save thousands in interest and fees and help you to pay off your debt in a fraction of the time. Right now, PDS
what did that show? I'm just curious. Also, I'm surprised that these debt helper services have taken this long to start sponsoring streamers
is accepted.
And video makers.
PDS Debt will help you to save thousands.
I want to know what the qualified is.
Fees and help you to pay off your debt.
Credit card, personal loan, collections, and medical bills. There's a couple conspicuously missing categories here.
Debt in a fraction of the time. Right now, PDS Debt is offering a free debt analysis, and it only takes 30 seconds. All you got to do is swing over to pdsdebt.com/KYB to start your free debt analysis today. Or you can find that link in the description down below. A big thank you to PDS Debt for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and step it up a little bit. I've got an even bigger spiky ball, but this one's on a chain.
That chain is way too long. He is at serious risk of Stop that. He is at serious risk of hurting himself. That chain is way too long. That should only, when it hangs down, come about to where his hand is there, and you hold it on the end.
I'm going to give this thing a few swings and see what happens. There we go. Oh, I missed. Darn it. That was a close one. Gonna have to dig.
Also makes it easier to hit the target. Yeah, some actual legitimate steel armor on him would be good. Because that, as you could see, that would hit hard with that long chain. It's also a great way to hurt yourself.
One,
spoken from experience.
Oh!
Yep, neck broken.
We did some damage to that helmet that time. We've got a pretty good little notch right there, but I don't believe we did any real damage.
Check the neck this time.
Oh dear. Well, he's got a little bit of a hemorrhage. It's just sticking out right there. Oh, just push it back in.
Well, that is a fractured skull, so you know.
Not a big deal.
Doesn't matter what happened to the neck.
Popped right back in there. Also, his skull is kind of cracked, so we still managed to do quite a bit of damage.
You can also see it looks like there was some shattering around the teeth. So that is... Ow!
With this medieval weapon, even with this modern armor, man, that was a really hard hit. It's time to get a little more serious and step it up another notch.
Oh, good.
This here is my meat tenderizer, and it has a very pointy spike on the end, and I've got high hopes for this one. We almost penetrated
Warhammer with a Becta Corbin or Warpick.
On a chain, so I think that this one has a pretty good shot. Okay, here we go.
Well, I mean, the skull is already dead, but...
Well, I think I could have hit a little bit harder, but we hit right there. And there is a good little pinhole right there.
A lot of even the cheap Warhammers are actually decent just because it's so easy to make them tough compared to some of the other weapons. Because you've already got equipment to make normal hammers, you just modify the head.
But I think we can do better. I was kind of afraid I was going to break this thing, but I'm going to be a little braver this time.
You could very well be using a very cheap handle, though. I'm amazed that thing hasn't popped yet.
Let's have a look, shall we? I hit that really hard, and I'm not really sure where I even hit, to be quite honest. I think right there is where that Velcro patch is. Oh, I think we made it through, actually.
Yep. If anything was going through, that's one of them.
Yeah, we've got a little hole right there. And then if you look right here, we've got a little new notch right there with a little hole. So we didn't make it very far through the helmet, but we did make it through the helmet. And honestly, I think that's pretty impressive. Before we move on, let's go ahead and take a whack with the hammer portion of this and an unarmored subject.
No, do it on the hammer.
Oh, gosh! Okay.
You should have done it on the helmet and shattered the helmet just to show what the hammer does.
I'm going to say this is pretty effective. I would definitely want to be wearing some sort of a helmet if somebody had one of these, because that was just pretty awful. That's pretty awful. And I got it on my pants. Darn it. Luckily, though, I did not get, well, I did. I got some on my shirt.
I was going to say, how did the shirt escape?
But it's still okay. If you would like to pick up one of my limited edition 3-year anniversary shirts that does not have blue stains on it, you should swing over to KentuckyBallistics.com.
There's going to be people that want the blue stains, though.
And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications.
Hold up. What's going on here? Got a message from Trovo. I'm gonna cast a spell with my ridiculous amount of mana I have. And see if actually participating does anything. Okay. Cool. For those who don't know, on Trovo, they will randomly have you fight enemies, so you can cast spells in the chat. And so I'm just saying, okay, it's saying I'm randomly fighting enemies, so I cast a spell, and we'll see if that changes things. Anyways, back to the video for now.
I feel like this is what the cleanup crew was like back in the gladiator days, you know, just clearing all this off here.
Probably.
Okay, it is time to move on to a full-blown zombie torso. I'm placing the armored helmet on it, and we have some premier body armor, soft armor. This is level 3A, and it's rated up to 44 Magnum. Now, I don't really expect this next weapon to penetrate said soft armor, but we're going to take a whack at it anyways.
You can hit it a lot harder, Scott.
So obviously we did not penetrate the body armor. His head is, oh, that's not good. There's a good chance his head might fall off. So I can feel a pop.
He already broke the neck again.
Let's put that right there.
Also, yeah. Ironically, the soft body armor is going to work better than hard body armor. Just because of the fact that it gives and cushions the blows more than the hard body armor, which just makes you take it. Unless you have padding or a trauma plate or something underneath.
Pull his head back. So when it comes to this soft armor, I'm a lot.
What is that?
Pull his head back. So when it comes.
That is a piece of steel in a sword shape. That is not a real sword. That could be stainless steel, which is really crappy.
Comes to this soft armor, I'm a lot more interested in pointy and sharp weaponry than I am blunt force weaponry. So we have a sword, and I'm gonna take a whack at this thing.
You can get an edge on stainless steel. You cannot keep an edge on stainless steel. Also, stainless steel has a nasty habit of shattering.
Thing this way, and I'm gonna try to stab it and see if the modern soft armor will hold up to this medieval masterpiece.
What is this crap on it? Is that the color of the steel, or is there stuff on it?
Oh!
Okay, it has flex, which means it's either carbon or spring steel. Somehow.
Oh dear. Okay, we need to check that out. We cut this whole part of the carrier, and we cut into that armor just a tad. We definitely didn't make it all the way through it, but my goodness, that is actually pretty darn sharp. Okay, I got some gloves on now. I am going to.
It's also pretty darn crappy, so.
I'm going to take one more whack at this.
Cold Steel Blue Light Special. Up to his make it. Oh. Because Cold Steel's, as you can see, an actual company. Cold Steel makes some crappy knives, yes. Their weapons are actually, well, depending on weapon, okay-ish. I would not go cheaper than Cold Steel if you're getting weapons, though.
Swinging, but we'll try to slice a little more. All right, here we go.
No, he almost was in the right position. Oof. Yeah, if that was stainless steel, that'd be gone. It'd be oh. Yeah, that's gotta be the wrong kind of spring steel. Which means it's actually not a cold steel weapon, because theirs is actually better quality than that.
Actually, you know what? We may have done more damage than I thought. Let's take this off here. Ooh. Okay. It's all good and cut up. We can just kind of rip that off there. Actually cut through quite a few layers. Out. But we did not make it through the back.
$300 for the cold steel sword.
It seems like our path to victory today when it comes to medieval weapons against modern armor is having something pointy. So up next, we have a spear. Okay, now the next question is, am I actually going to be able to hit him? So, ain't nothing to it but to do it, right? Yeah! Oh, we actually hit it. I don't think.
Even if it protects you, you don't want to be the person wearing it when they get hit with stuff.
I'm going to take another whack at this. I'm not really sure what the proper technique is for spear throwing, but I'm just going to try to throw it harder.
Both feet on the ground, please.
Well, I can feel a little bit of a bulge, but it did not make it through it. Man, that is not going in. Like, that is really tough.
To be fair, the idea is that you use the precision of the spear when held to just aim for the face.
I tell you what, I'm feeling pretty good about my spear throwing technique.
He's doing pretty good for someone who doesn't do
right
this.
There. And you definitely, yep, that would do it.
Yeah.
I would definitely want to be wearing my body armor. Not so much luck with the spear, but I feel pretty good about the old meat tenderizer. I think I may
War
be able
picks
to drive
always
that
go
there.
through.
We're going to take a shot at it. So, let's see here. 1, 2, 3.
Both feet on the ground.
That went right through
that
that soft armor, and it looks like we hit. That's where we hit.
Swinging it like a baseball bat is good advice,
there.
actually.
Oh, yeah. So for my final weapon.
Oh my gosh. It was a stupid knife. I was hoping it was just a prop. Alright, so yes, swing it like a baseball bat is pretty good advice for war picks, war hammers, morning stars, and maces. Just swing it, or Gotendags. Just swing it like a baseball bat. On swords, because you need edge alignment. Which I forgot to check on him. I guess we're gonna get a round 2 try. I'm not looking forward to this, man. This is gonna hurt.
Today I have the 4-bore of swords. This is a 9-foot-long claymore. Oh.
That is not a claymore.
Hard to wield.
Claymores do not come in 9 feet long. Claymores are the smallest of the great swords. Also, they still have much larger grips than that. That is a sword-shaped piece of steel. That, if it's assuming it's metal, which I guess it is. Also, was that flexing? Oh my gosh.
This is a 9-foot-long claymore.
No.
A little hard to wield.
You can get real swords in that length. They are made way better than that. Way better than that. If this doesn't break, it's not finishing this straight.
Okay. Here we go.
Nope, there we go. Wait, hold on. Okay, besides that, we'll get to that awful wraparound in a sec. I gotta see something. It is already bent and curving coming in. But based on the direction, I hate to say it, but I've seen worse edge alignment. He's somehow aligning the freaking curve to come in on the edge. But this is not sharp. I was right. There is nothing sharp about this sword. And then it comes down. See, it's coming in on the quote-unquote edge. Sort of. It should, if it was actually sharp and properly made, it would be biting here. Instead, it does that. It just squish it. I mean, don't get me wrong. If that doesn't kill you, it's still going to hurt a lot. And then it wraps. That is a crappy sword. That is a really crappy sword. Oh my gosh. There's nothing sharp about this. Swords do not move like this. See, now on the rebound, if it was sharp, it should still be cutting. Even with this crappy flexible blade, if it was at least sharp, this guy'd be dead. I mean, he might still be dead, but this guy'd be chopped to pieces. That's like comically... Scott, I want you to try this again with a good weapon. And it did, in fact... And it did, in fact, bend beyond the ability to recover.
Okay. I don't know who constructed this sword, but it wasn't made for a man of my stature, apparently. I guess I put a lot of force behind that, and it's,
it could,
well, it's bent.
That's a good point. It could very well be made out of that material they make the flex saws out of. That would actually make sense. Someone thought they were being clever.
And the handle broke off. Wow. I'm so happy that I didn't pay
Crossguard.
Like $1,500 for that sword, because I totally didn't. $1,500
for that piece of junk.
Here. I hit the strap. $1,500. Wow. I'm so happy that I didn't pay like $1,500 for that sword, because I totally didn't.
Scott,
take a look at Mr. Zombie here.
Yeah,
I hit
complete
the strap,
waste.
and we did absolutely nothing. Not a darn thing. He's perfectly fine.
The Cold Steel Greatsword is of better quality than that. Yeah, see, that's a club in a vague short sword shape. That relies entirely on mass to do its damage.
Did I hit him? Yep.
Scott, buy the cold sword greatsword.
Okay. Well, that was pretty effective. Not bad for a dull sword. That sword does not have an edge on it.
Oh.
Okay, now let's see what I can
He just
do with
says
a
it.
smaller sword that I can maneuver better and...
Sure. He just outright admits there is no edge on that thing. Yeah, it is a flat piece of steel in a vague sword shape and comically long.
Has quite an edge on it. Shah! Shah! Okay, yeah, that was definitely more effective. Right there is a pretty good shot. That's way more effective.
That's what a sharp sword does. Or I guess a moderately sharp sword. I still have some questions about that thing's actual edge. Scott, can you do this without using the Mall Ninja weapons? Let's get the real ones. Or at least the cold steel ones. Okay, but that's actually a great idea. I want to see more of this. I want to see more of this. Modern jousting. I want to see more of this.
Okay, well, I have come to the conclusion that medieval weapons are no longer relevant, at least in my humble opinion.
Use real ones, then we'll try again.
Defeating modern armor with medieval weapons, and honestly, I had a hard time in general defeating a zombie torso with the medieval weapons. I mean, I did more damage with my mini bike than I did with
Scott,
all of my weapons combined.
recommendation,
So
get real ones.
That's a no-go for me.
The
and
Mall
I'm gonna
Ninja
stick
crap,
with modern
no.
technology. Let me know what you thought about them in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, be sure and give today's video a like and be sure and hit that subscribe button. Also,
I am
be sure
sorry,
check
but
me out on
Scott and
all
I are in
social
disagreement
media
here.
Platforms. Links to all those can be found in the description down below, along with a link to KentuckyBallistics.com, just in case you want to pick up one of my limited shirts.
I may very well...
As always, my name is Scott. Thank you so much for watching Kentucky Ballistics, and I'll see you next time.
I may very well try to get in contact with him over this. I may very well try to get in contact with him over that. Yeah, I will let people know when and if I do, because that was honestly a bit on the disappointing side, Scott. Get the real stuff, not the Mall Ninja crap. Even the cheap cold steel stuff is mostly effective.